Today, shot 4, and I'll show you how to prevent Blender from crashing when dealing with extremely large scenes. So here's another example of how my storyboard did not match the final shot. I didn't use what would have been sort of the university sign off to the right, which would have been the brick sort of archway that I showed you in the other shot that I mocked up. That's originally why I built those, but in this shot I decided to show the whole campus and boom up and try and show the vast expanse of the campus. Let's move on to the shot. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time looking at the finished shot than I am in the Blender file this time, because this Blender file crashes my computer. It is so complicated. It maxed out my computer. I could almost never see everything at once. If you look at the grass, that is actually a particle system, duplicated multiple times. I made one square of grass and then duplicated it. That's why the lawn looks so uniform. The trees are individual trees that I didn't duplicate by doing Shift D. I did Alt D and then rotated them so they looked a little bit different, but they are in fact the same tree to keep the file size smaller, which was still hard to do given the grass and all the buildings you're about to see. But here, let me play the shot. So the car drives by with the dad and daughter, did the exact same way I did in the very first shot. Those are not the actual rigged characters. Those are meshes that I made out of characters. Again, most of the stuff you're looking at in this shot was purchased. The buildings are from Kit Bash, the Colonial collection. The trees, don't remember where I got those, but those trees were purchased and scattered throughout the scene. I deleted as much of like the backs of the buildings that I could to try and keep my poly count down. Didn't necessarily work. Oh, I had a note to add lampposts to this scene, which I apparently never did, probably because my computer kept crashing and I was like, this is good enough. But let's back up to the beginning here. The other cars you see were all bought in an asset pack called Traffic. All of those cars came rigged and you could change the color of them, and it was like $80 and it was well worth it considering I spent, I think, around $50 on my hero car for the dad and daughter. So when those cars moved, the tires spun automatically as they moved down the path. The hero car of the dad and daughter and the trunk on the top, I still had to rotate those tires myself manually, which I again did math like I did before. But this is just a simple camera boom up, 2 keyframes on the camera, and shows the vast expanse of the campus that they're headed off to. Let's go to the Blender file. Okay, here we are in the Blender file. As you can see, the camera has 2 keyframes. It starts off static, and then as the hero car drives by, it booms up. Just going to drag this along and you can see the car go by and we boom up and show the whole campus. Now, as you can see up here, I have the trees turned off. I have the grass turned off because it bogs down my computer. I'm going to come over here and show you an overview of the computer. Because the camera never got super high, I don't have much going on back here. I just scattered some buildings off in the distance. I'll put some trees out there. You can see my trees are turned off. Let me see what happens when I turn them on. See if Blender crashes. But you can see my trees there. These are actually the foreground trees. I have more trees in the background. Trees enter in the background. Let's turn those on. So those are some tree instances way back there. So I just duplicated the trees that way. So here we are, the trees spread out along the main drive. No trees back in here because you couldn't really see that section. So I'm going to go ahead and turn those back off so you can see how I instanced the trees back there in order to fill out the background. These are my individual trees duplicated that way. Turning those off. I will not turn on the grass because it will crash my computer, but I made my grass about, what is it, like 1 meter, 2 meters by 2 meters. So a little section of grass would be just right here and then right here, and I could fill in this whole section just by duplicating it. All the cars follow paths. So there's the path that car is following. You can see it's right on the road. The car asset pack was a fantastic purchase. My hero car follows its own path, and every car is just following a path, and they're just delayed to have them go by at an interesting time in the background as the hero car drives by. So you can see them all driving and going by right there. And that is basically it for this shot. I almost crashed my computer every time. It was very frustrating to build this scene because until I realized I just needed to turn off the trees and the grass and figure out my exact camera angle in order to make building this scene possible. This was one of the latter scenes I did because this taxed out my computer and my skills for sort of laying out a shot and just dropping stuff in specifically to fill out that shot and make the campus look like a big wide world we were headed into. Tomorrow, we're on to shot 5. I'll see you then.